start with a vehicle like the Ford Expedition. You slap a Lincoln badge on it, you make something fancy, you call it the Navigator, and you basically invent a whole segment, which is what Lincoln did back in 1997 when it first launched the vehicle. A year later, Cadillac followed up with the Escalade, and eventually the Germans came to market with their own iterations of what they thought a big American luxury vehicle should look like. Well, now Lincoln is back at it with this, the all-new 2025 Lincoln Navigator. Big style, big price. Let's see if it's worth it. Well, I appreciated the styling of the prior version with its almost Art Deco appeal. I think this newer take does a good job bringing that idea into a more modern space. You still have a strong shoulder line, a nice subtle push out on the fenders, and a strong hood. One feature you'll either love or hate, however, is this. Lincoln calls it the light bar, and it has a full light up welcome sequence that turns on when you walk up to the vehicle. I personally am a sucker for full width lighting treatments. The taillights get something similar out back. The standard wheel here is 22 inches. However, you can get 24s for the first time ever on the Navigator. There are a few different finish options for each size depending on how you spec the truck. But while this new Navigator keeps things mostly classically cool on the outside, the magic happens on the inside. This thing is quite literally a spa on wheels. I'm not joking either. When you put the vehicle in park, you can activate a 5 or 10 minute rejuvenate experience. The driver's seat will slide backward and recline. Then it warms up a bit and activates a massage program. Lincoln programs the display to show calming visual pieces along with the ambient lighting and sounds filtering in, and even subtle fragrances enter the cabin. Lincoln gives you the first taste for free with 2 of the themes already loaded, and there's a third one called Waterfall, which was made in partnership with an app called Calm. Along with that, you get a 1-year subscription to the Calm app, which helps you meditate and relax, and this seems like it should do the same. But when you want to not be in meditation mode, slide your 24-way adjustable driver's seat back into position, then crank the 28-speaker Revell Ultima 3D audio system. And you'll choose your music by looking at this insane 48-inch panoramic display. Now there's an 11-inch touchscreen down here, which is how you'll really control it. But up here is where you'll see the visual stuff that sits just below your line of sight, and it's actually really nicely designed. And you hit this button right here. So this is showing what's up there. You can move the compass up there, and then it appears up there. If I move the media up there, that'll change right there. And then in some of them too, there's a further menu. If you want the hourly weather, it'll change to that. This is also where you will see to access the controls for your adjustments, your mirrors. You press over that, and then you can control your music from here, or you can do your adjustments for the steering wheel. Move it in and out, and it'll move around, and you can do your mirrors from there and all that good stuff. You can move your pedals around. Power-wise, Lincoln fits the Navigator with a 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin-turbo V6. Here it's good for 440 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque, and it's backed up by a 10-speed automatic. All-wheel drive is standard, as are adaptive dampers. And those adaptive dampers feel pretty darn good out here on the road. I have to say, this thing rides really nicely. It's really quiet. It totally lends itself to that whole sanctuary idea. I'm one who's quick to make fun of all the marketing speak when it gets overly flowery, be it design language or just driving dynamics and stuff like that, but it feels nice in here. These seats are incredibly comfortable, like really nice material, and just we've been driving for a bit now and I don't feel any fatigue whatsoever, and get a great view of the road. This panoramic screen is right below your eye line, so you're not hunting for the information you need, and because it sits nice and low but it's not having a head-up display in your face, you do have a good view of the road. I thought this steering wheel was going to feel a little goofy because I'm kind of over these squared circle shapes, but it feels nice in your hands. Everything I'm sensing inside the cabin is very pleasant, and I think that's kind of what Lincoln is going for, not just from the digital sense and all that relative goofiness, but the actual comfort and driving dynamics lend themselves really nicely to just giving yourself a smile here behind the wheel. Power, though, is good. It makes a good noise back there. It sounds tougher than a V6, even though I am a fan of the 3.5-liter EcoBoost. I think it's a great engine in all of its applications, from transit vans on up to Raptors, and here in this version in the Lincoln Navigator. The gearbox shifts extremely seamlessly. Your family, I have to assume, would be just as comfortable as you are sitting back there because those seats look great in the back as well. So far, this thing rides and drives rather wonderfully. And even though this is a large, heavy vehicle, the brakes feel good. There's no drama there. Steering on these switchbacks, which isn't normally a road you want to push a vehicle like this, but the steering has good heft to it without feeling overly artificial while still remaining comfortable, which is nice. Again, surprisingly good tone from the engine, better tone from the audio system. They've done a really nice job here. And it is a great alternative to a vehicle like the Cadillac Escalade, which is what I would line this up against. You also have the German competition, but this visually feels bigger than those offerings. I think this versus Escalade is where it's at, and each has compelling offerings. The cabin on this one, in terms of comfort, might be just a notch above that Escalade. And if you're gonna tow with your Navigator, you can tow up to 8,700 pounds. Once you hook up the trailer and enter in the trailer dimensions to the vehicle so it knows what you're towing, it adjusts the suspension based on the load weight, and then it will also alter any routing through the map navigation system if there are low bridges that would be in your way, which is a pretty nice feature. This being a fancy Lincoln product, you also have the black label trims. There's the standard invitation theme, you have an enlightened theme, and then you have this atmospheric theme with its nicely cool gray stormy leather. Black label themes also have heated and ventilated second row seats, and that third row is heated too. This is fancy. Lincoln is offering the 2025 Navigator in standard or longer L variety. The Reserve, which is the entry point to all things Navigator, starts at $101,990. A Reserve L is another $2,990 to start. Jump to a black label though, and you're starting to really break the bank because these start at $118,000 plus for a regular black label and over $120,000 for a black label L. There are plenty of ways to take that price higher too, like the Jet Appearance Package, special paint options on the Black Label models, and the Black Label Special Edition packages. There's no denying that the new Lincoln Navigator is a stunning spa on wheels. If this is what your family needs to be moved around in, this will certainly fit the bill. There's no doubt that it's going to be a big bill, but this is a standout machine in a sea of equally spacious and costly or even more costly examples.